quite a bit of debt to purchase the building and purchase a lot of the equipment we needed to start up. And that went on for about 3 years. We just saw constant growth the more we did it. And it kind of reassured me to keep going, but it was definitely very, very risky because we put other divisions of the business at risk, by spending, we dried up our cash flow basically for about 3 years, where my poor office manager, was just nonstop juggling money to make sure everybody got paid on time, and would scold me and yell at me and at all hours of the night. But
so is your view on risk today, as we sit, different than it was at the very beginning and 5 years in and during that expansion you just spoke about?
It is. I'm a little less apt to take risk now for a couple of reasons. We're stable now. We're at the point in my company where I think we're pretty stable. I'm not seeking the growth that I was 5 years ago. So that's part of it. So I'm not reinvesting in a lot of equipment and stuff like that now. So a lot of that risk went away. And then honestly, a big part of it is since I've had my daughter, that's a huge part of it for me, is because, man, do I want to keep rolling this dice? Like, I got a pretty good thing here.
Yeah.
And I'm doing pretty good, and I take a nice paycheck home, and I get to spend, I've cut back some of the hours I'm working here. I'm still working a full-time job for sure, and then some, because I do a lot of work at home and a lot of work anywhere I am. I'm constantly on my phone working. But I've been able to spend a lot more time with the baby, and that to me has made me really slow down when it comes to rolling the dice.
It changes you, right?
For sure.
So you are, I think, an older millennial, right? You're at the older edge of the millennials. So the millennials take a lot of incoming fire about their views on money and work and life in general. So what advice would you give to a younger millennial, especially an aspiring entrepreneur?
First of all, I don't like that title of millennial. We talked about that.
You resent that a little bit?
Yeah, I'm an old man in my skin. My soul was born in the 20s, I believe. But yeah, it's tough. They get a bad rap. I think kids born in the early 80s and the mid 80s still have a lot of the same ethics that I grew up in. I think it was a different time. I think it was a different time for their parents and their families and the cities we all grew up in. But I'm seeing it slipping, unfortunately. I hate to say that the stereotype is well deserved, but it almost seems like it is. The more and more we get some younger guys in here, we're lucky that we've scored a bunch of really good young guys that are motivated, and luckily that they're family friends, and I think they were just raised a different way. They were raised the same way I was. But I think if I had to give them any advice, don't waste any time. If there's something you want to go after, do it young. I was just talking to a friend today about some real estate investments that I wish I got into when I was a little younger, and I'm starting to do the math now, and now that I can afford to do it and I have the time to do it, it kind of doesn't make sense in my plan anymore. If I had done it when I was a little bit younger, I could probably be a lot better off, now, but I think go after something. If you want something, go start today, do some research and get started, do something. And then I think a big thing for that generation, and I guess it is my generation, but I honestly I don't relate.
I'm not going to rub your nose in it, but it is your generation.
To about 3/4 of that generation, to be totally honest. But I see them going away from my debt-free rule. There is some times where debt can be good. If you don't own a business, that isn't good.
Yes,
it's bad.
No, but to be fair, you were not a consumer debt guy. You didn't borrow money to go on vacation. No, you didn't have a car that you couldn't afford. You weren't buying toys like quads or boats on credit. You did violate, if you will, I'm doing air quotes, the debt rule, but you used it to acquire assets to help your business grow. And that, some people may not like that, and some people would say that's not a good way to go about things, especially because of the riskiness. But that's a far cry from somebody that has $30,000 of credit card debt and nothing to show for it. Mm-hmm. My take with millennials is some of the criticism they get is fair, but it seems like there's a very large percentage of the millennials that are amazing. They do work hard. They're very creative, and they have that youthful exuberance. And they may not have the same shared experiences that you and I and your parents and my parents have, but they're going to just be fine. But there's a big percentage, and probably an alarming percentage, that do not buy into that. And we're going to have to see how that plays itself out. But I know you have a lot of millennials here at the Armory that are phenomenal.
I do. I got really lucky. Like I said, I have really good employees, very loyal employees that are all really hard workers, and the ones that aren't, we engage and we make sure they turn into them. I think some of the problem with that generation is we're seeing a transition in the workforce that we were set up to fail at. I kind of think I'm lucky. I ended up getting a college degree while I was in the military. I did it on my own, and I almost didn't finish it because all I wanted to take was the business courses and the accounting courses. I didn't want to take my general ed stuff.
Okay.
So I let it linger, and it took me twice as long. I had to go back and take classes over that I'd already taken because my credits expired. I just had no need for that, you know? But I think my generation, including up till today, there's still this huge push for, you got to go to college. You go to college, you get a great job. And these kids are coming out of college and they're expecting somebody to hand them six figures, and it's not going to happen. That's not happening anymore.
I think that's a good point.
The economy's changed. The workforce has changed. We're bringing technology in to replace a lot of people. The skills that they really need, I don't think are getting taught as good anymore. I think that loyalty stuff, the work ethic, the how to deal with people. I have a lot of trouble with younger kids that when I look at them in the eyes and say hello and put my hand out and they're staring at the ground or staring at their phone or, you know, how was your day? How was school? Isn't an answer for me. Like I would have got whacked upside the head for that, and I want to do it to them so bad. It's just not my place. But I think a lot of that was they're set up for these expectations, and they kind of get spoiled really quick. I'm not saying college is a bad thing. I think there's definitely some people that belong in college. They need to go to college. I think there's a lot more people that would be better off going to some type of trade school or tech school. I think what I would really love to see is colleges adapt to more programs and certifications than a traditional degree. Like I would have been perfect to go to business school if it was just business school.
Maybe combined with some technical training.
I would have had my master's, you know. Yeah. No problem. I don't want to take some of the other classes that I'm not interested in because it just doesn't apply.
As we kind of wrap up, and we'll have to go back and listen to the recording, but it seems to me you've used the term lucky maybe a dozen times in just our short little chat. So have you been lucky, or have you played by the rules, worked hard, been creative, study what you need to study in your business so that you could be successful? How much has luck played in your emergence as a successful small business owner?
I think I like I said, I don't like to have a big head about things. I do at times, but I don't like it. And I think using luck as an excuse keeps me on an even keel. It keeps me working
So you
hard.
Use it to, like, for a humble...
I think I try. I try to stay pretty humble. I think some of it was luck, honestly. I think landing in a town like this that just happened to need something that I wanted to give, and I was, able to. I think that played a role in it. I think everything that's happened in my life, the people that I've surrounded myself with, some of that I fell into, and I think some of it is luck. I honestly do. I can tell you a lot more of it is a lot of hard work and a lot of dedication and a lot of really going after what you want.
So what would be your definition of luck?
Being in the right place at the right time, but at the same time having a skill or something that you can exploit that situation with.
Because I learned growing up, and it's always stuck with me, Earl Nightingale used a definition that luck is when opportunity meets preparedness. And I know it's a cliche. I'm sure you've heard of it. Why didn't you want to use it?
Because it's a cliche.
All right. But I think it's appropriate. I mean, there's lots of people that have been running around in Las Vegas, including in your industry, that didn't find the inefficiency, didn't find that there was this missing ingredient of what consumers wanted, and you capitalized on it. And I'm also convinced, having known you all these years, that if you were doing something else, you'd be successful at that too. And this is one of those things about luck and how you're raised, what you're made of, how smart you are. It's hard to judge how that all kind of comes together. But you've said lucky a lot, and I think you are lucky. I know I'm lucky in my life. And
luck opens the door, and then you have to do something once you take this step.
There you go.
That's the way I see it.
So I think that's a good way to end. I want to thank you so much for joining me today. It was as good as I had hoped it would be. And for listeners, if you want more information about ElliottWealth.com, about me, the team, you could visit the website at www.elliottwealth.com. That's 2 L's, 2 T's. Please subscribe to this podcast. Pass it on to friends and family. I would be honored. We're on iTunes, Stitcher, and other podcast platforms. And I look forward to doing another Simply Financial podcast very soon. Thank you.
The views expressed are not necessarily the opinion of SagePoint Financial Incorporated and should not be construed directly or indirectly as an offer to buy or sell any securities mentioned herein. Investing is subject to risks, including loss of principal invested. Past performance is not a guarantee of future results. No strategy can assure a profit nor protect against a loss. Please note that individual situations can vary. Therefore, the information should be relied upon when coordinated with individual professional advice. The information being provided is strictly as a courtesy. When you link to any of the websites provided here, you are leaving this website. We make no representation as to the completeness or accuracy of information provided at those websites, nor is the company liable for any direct or indirect technical or system issues or any consequences arising out of your access to or your use of third-party technology. Websites, information, and programs made available through this website. When you access one of those websites, you assume total responsibility and risk for your use of the website you are linking to. Securities and advisory services are offered through SagePoint Financial Incorporated, member FINRA, SIPC. Insurance services offered through Elliott Wealth Management, LLC are not affiliated with